Don't you? Hey. So yesterday I got this side fitted up and crappily welded. Needs cleaned up. I need to finish welding up. It had I had to drill out a lot of original holes. You see a lot of pinhole rust here too. So I might try to fill that up too, but and then I'll need to roll. I started rolling this edge down. I'll have to roll all the way down just to match like the other side. I did find out this is a 1/2 inch longer on this side, and so it kind of slopes back, but that's just gonna have to be. It's fine with me. So I might work on this panel. I'm gonna come in somewhere right around here, I think, just to give it enough room to be satisfied. And so the chisel just works wonders. I don't know why. I've never had one before. Got just like a tapered edge chisel in there. Was able to get in under here. And there's 3 pieces of sandwich. There's this piece, and there's a piece behind here. And then they had the firewall piece with the flange coming down. And here's the leftover of it. Was able to chisel that off and get a nice surface to start from. I went ahead and rolled over the edge so I can get a flat edge kind of, and I'm going to start cutting cardboard and trying to get a panel of some sort figured out. I want to do it in one shot, but I know that this is going to have to be stretched in here, so I want it flanged here, come back, stretched out here, and have a. So it's time to get ready for volleyball tonight, but we got some good progress on this firewall panel I'm making. So I'm going to come out straight, and I got a bent tab where I'll do my little spot weld thing, and so it comes out straight. I'm following the natural bend here, so I just went ahead and marked it. It's going to be like a gradual bend, not a sharp bend, and then I'll go in. And so I'm trying to find the straightest path along here. So I got it pushed. I'm going to have it pushed back all the way to the back, and I'm going to have it cut there. I got here where I need to stretch it. This is a stretch, and this area will be a stretch, so I can push this whole panel back into the. So I got my cardboard cut off at the bottom and fitted up. It's not really in there perfectly right now, but it gives me a general outline of how much material I need. You see I need to go up still here, and which needs to come up there, and I'll have to stretch this out to get this corner, like I said, stretched in here, because I'm gonna want it tapered. I don't want to taper at the top. I want it pretty much straight. You can't really tell. So all that top part will have to bow out and be stretched. So my other piece was just a hair smaller than what I needed to be. So I went ahead and traced the pattern on the roof. I'm gonna cut it out here and get my inspector ready to inspect. You ready? So I've got a good start going so far. Just use the stretcher to curve this, and I should have used the shrinker here, but I had it in my pattern that it was cut, and I just cut it, which I probably should have just left it. But on this side, I remembered, and I'm gonna save that for the shrinker. The inspector approves. So, and then I'll start. I left this flange not bent as much. I bent it, but that way I can, because this whole area, yes, it will be stretched, so it looks like a curve. So I didn't want it too sharp. So I had to shut the garage door because I was making a lot of noise, but just want to show you the progress so far. That's where it started. This is just where it's at right now just by pounding on the block with a hammer. Looks like an anvil type steel thing. Just stretching that whole area. And I got my planishing hammer set up so I can take out the little imperfections from the hammer blows. So this is where I'm going to end it tonight, I think. It is one warped mother, but the general shape is there. It just needs some fine tuning. See if I can get it up there with one hand. Oops. It's starting to get there. Do this and film at the same time. That needs to come way around. That's getting close. Go over. Can't tell. Lots more work to do. All right, it's getting closer. Still not done. I got this side to work on. But from the halfway point to the passenger side, which it still needs to come in on the top to catch that flange, but it's starting to take shape. I missed my bend just a hair, but actually this starts to flare out. You can kind of see it start flaring out this way. I think I'm gonna cut that, maybe massage it back in when I start fitting it. But this part's looking pretty good. Let's see what it looks like inside here. Yeah, it's not bad. Update before dinner time, which I may come back out, but not sure. I really want to get this in here. I got some old folks coming up to see the truck. That's right, you know what I'm talking about. But it's really fitting good now. I think I could probably make it fit when I start welding it up, and I can trim it on the outside here when I start tacking corners. Start from this side and probably work my way over. This corner, it got pretty fatigued. That's where I cut it, and since I was stretching it here, it just worked that cut. That's why I should have kept it alone, left it alone. So I'm gonna have to probably just cut that, clean it up, and this side I got marks where I kind of need to stretch it back. So I'm kind of twisted here. So I'm gonna try to stretch it here and blend it back into this firewall on the driver's side. So hopefully I'll get it finished up, either started tonight, but hopefully tomorrow. So you can see on top I'm getting closer to where it's blended in. It still needs to be pushed forward, and I'm thinking that when I start working it this way over, I can push it forward and get it tacked up where I want it, because it's just going to need a 1/2 inch overhang, so it will hang out a little bit like a little bubble. Well, I came back out here and I'm calling it quits for the night. I got it started to spot it in, tack welded, and I am trying to do the best I can on this side. It's getting where it needs a lot of massage, but I'm gonna have to do it on the truck. This side looks pretty good. I'll make that work. It'll work just fine. It's just a matter of persuasion. Like I say, I'm no sheet metal man, professional, but it looks like a firewall to me. Good enough for this truck. So I'll see you tomorrow. So I wanted to put the body back on for to clean up the shop tonight, get it out of the way, because I got some old guys coming tomorrow to check me out. But I wanted to test the firewall and I got plenty of clearance. It's looking really good, and that's what I wanted, so I can put insulation and sound deadener back behind there without it rubbing the engine. Just general clearance overall, but I do have an issue with the exhaust. I am hitting already, and I'm not down. I got an 1/8 inch or so to go, so that's a problem. I may be able to scooch it over a hair. I think that's where the original factory exhaust went to. They have this is coming up. It's raised here at the floorboard, but I think they put a bigger exhaust hole. Back on the firewall game, and after much debate, I'm gonna just go ahead and cut this somewhere in here. I haven't figured out where for that exhaust. I looked and found that the earlier 90 or 89 to 93 Dodge, the downpipe comes straight down with a 90 and tucks in here, which is good, and I could have probably used it. It would have tucked back in here and then just caught that, but the things are expensive, and if I'm all about using what I got, I might as well use what I got, and I can just cut it out, make another patch panel to match up here. It's got the hole cut out, bent my edges back, kind of rounded them up. This is flat, and this will be kind of rounded too once I get it done, but tried to round that up. Got my piece cut. I had to make some relief cuts down here too to round this over. And we got a compound curve on this panel as well. Got a curve here, a curve here. And this needs to curve kind of same way. So I'm gonna run it on the planishing hammer just to kind of stretch this area so I can get that all these sides curved. And then we'll start tacking it in. Got my patch panel in there, and I wanted to set the body back down just to see, and it looks pretty good. I've got enough clearance that I'm happy with it. What do you think? No, over here. Okay, look over here.
Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh.
This firewall is officially sealed up with weld. We got it all welded. It looks, I'm not gonna say pretty good, because that's what I always say, but it's good. I think it turned out just fine. So the next step would be to seal this sucker. I'll probably seam seal this area just fine, but down here and below on the rocker panel, I still need to replace this before I do any sort of seam sealing. So I guess it's either buying this piece or figuring out how to make it, buying a bead roller or something, biting the bullet. So one step closer again. And when I say seal, I mean all the back side of the weld. I'm going to use seam seal on here and along this joint. That's what I was saying, I can't really do this until because I don't want the heat to affect the bond. So I'm going to have to wait on the lower part, but I can go ahead and do all this. I do need to patch this part up where I cut it back. Need a lot of work here. Bring it back 3 inches so I can screw my boot down later. And then I guess I just finished extending the inner shifter hole. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get the underside taken care of while I got it. This whole section was rusted out, and this is the old support for the old body. Now I got these new ones. So I think I'm gonna tie this in, cut it off straight, and then add a new piece that's angled to tie into this, because this is where my floorboard ties into. You can see my new floorboard and my old floorboard. And I have holes drilled back here where I'm going to do the spot weld. This was a hump. What's this? Oh, didn't do that. So, I'm going to tie that in. Tonight, I'm underneath the truck again on the underside, the back side. I'm going to try to take this panel off of here, as I told you before. I got it started. I'm using my chisel, which is super awesome tool, and trying to cut all the spot welds loose and separate the metal out without damaging this upper piece. I split it here, and I got this side to do, but you can see how rusted out everything was. Just pretty rusty, so it needs to be removed. Lots of rusty metal later. Finally got this piece off. You can kind of see where it was. I found out the technique is to pry it down before you try to chisel the weld out, so you can get a better shot at the middle of the weld. If not, you end up with stuff like this. That's rust on here, but the rest of it is where I punctured through. Big spot there. But luckily the piece that I'm adding is gonna fill it, so I'm just gonna have to spot weld it in and not worry about patching it. I'll just seam seal over it. All these holes are gonna have to be patched up here where I took stuff off of it. These are gonna be my filler welds. Starting to work on the inner panels, patching those holes up. Last hole, so this post here, got to fill that in. All right, got this side filled in, so patch that up. I'm gonna seam seal all this once I get it done. Hopefully, I think this is gonna be like the last weekend that it's gonna be nice, potentially. So I'm gonna try to get this body out and power wash the underside and this cowl, and might hang it off this tree, this ginormous tree. We moved on to the driver's side. Got this patch in the works here. Passenger side is all finished up. Seen that patch. Got this filled in, cleaned up, and then the front section looks good. I did broke down and ordered this step panel, and it comes with rockers because all my rockers are shot. So I probably could have made the rockers, but this panel pretty rusty there too, so I went ahead and bought those, and those should be in next week. So that's the last of the metalworking portion. Haven't cleaned it up at all, but this side is in as well and needs ground down, but I think the line's gonna fit well. This side needs cleaned up too. Everything is pretty flush. So this will all be seam sealed, and the body is pretty much ready to be seam. Well, I guess I got this panel underneath here yet. Can't see it really, probably, but all the welds were spotted in, minus these holes and stuff. So I'm gonna make a angled piece through here that will cover this. So I'm gonna leave this open. That's a factory hole, but I don't need it. But yeah, so it'll cover up along here. Wanted to update my story. Been working on this piece, and I got this piece back here too. You notice my funky bends on the ends. That's because the panel in here is not perfectly straight. You can kind of see it goes in, so I'm gonna have to hammer that back once I start tacking it forward. I made this piece slightly smaller. You can kind of see in there on the bend, so I can have a 3/4 or an inch overlap and tack it, because my 4-foot piece wasn't long enough for the whole truck. So I'm gonna put this side in first, overlap it here, and then put the other piece in. Got the passenger side all welded in. Show my light here. Put the flange on there. You can see where I kind of misdrilled my holes. I almost missed the top flange, so I went ahead and drilled more and cut this outer edge. Spot weld all the flange. This will all get seam sealed up, so it blends in really well. Got the brake part here, and it clamped up. And put the flanges down there with holes. So we're ready to start welding it. I had to use a block and a piece of wood to shove up on the body to get from the top side. Got her all welded in. Hip. Got the top welded in as well. You see where I had to kind of do a circle weld where I punctured through, which turned out fine. I'll kind of grind it off, just the tops off, and this will all get seam sealed, as well as the bottom all get seam sealed. I left these holes for now. I'll probably just smooth them up and slap a piece of sound deadener over it, same as this. Not structural, so I'm not too concerned about it. Seam seal all this, and we're getting ready to do some sound deadening and heat proofing of this bad boy. Got these coming Friday, so stay tuned.